We knew it was going to be an October to remember. And what I saw from the guards last night, what I see for this week, a bye. You know, the bye only goes to some of the best teams in their respective sports, Ryan. That's how that works. You clinch it last night, but I've got to take on the rest of this week of why it is vitally important. The work's not done. I saw Jensen put the tweet out this morning because he's been sending out the magic numbers, and he goes, work's not done yet, man. We're not done yet with the Guardians. We got to talk about them. Maybe a little vibe of what you're expecting out of the guards this fall as we're ready to go. First round bye is clinched. Still want that number one seed. Bring the Yankees on here. Bring them on over here for a little ALCS action. We'll get there. Plenty coming up with the guards. We're going to start hard and heavy with the Browns this morning. Noah Weiskopf going to join us in a matter of seconds to talk about the Browns. Plenty to lay out about the Browns. They get ready to go for the Raiders this weekend. We'll go around the NFL with Graziano and Fowler, their mailbag. We'll get to the grid, time up, bracket, morning update. We got it all for you right here on Big Play. Welcome to the show, everybody. I am Matt Fontana. He is Ryan Tyler. Good morning. Happy to have you along. Twitter X, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitch. And we head right on out. Somebody who's on Instagram and Twitter. No, are you on Twitch? No? Do you watch Twitch at all, ever?
Not really.
Not really. All good. You can follow him at the other spots, though. Browns with Noah. We got a couple minutes with him. Always appreciate your time, man. And I want to start with a conversation that we've had over the last couple days here on the show about if you can truly evaluate Deshaun Watson on Sunday's game. I'm going to ask you about Ken Dorsey. We'll talk offensive line. But no, when you watch that game, just kind of where I'm at in your thoughts, I kind of gave Watson a pass for Sunday. Where every single game, but Ryan doesn't like it. He's very upset with me about it. But every single game is a must, you got to win. But it's also this evaluation of Deshaun Watson. And I frankly think for Sunday, with as bad as the line played, with how ill prepared the Browns were, I couldn't make an evaluation on Sunday. Do you agree with me or do you agree with Ryan?
To me, it's a collective effort, and everyone plays a part. Obviously, the line is a huge deal, and I'm sure we're going to talk about it. But I think that it's a collective effort, and I think that Deshaun is not just as at fault, but he is at fault as well as the line, as well as the play calling, as well as the coaching staff, as well as everyone. It can't look like that on the field week in and week out. You can't go collective weeks with not having a productive offense. You just can't do it. This is the NFL. You've paid money to your quarterback. You've invested a lot of resources into your offensive line. They can't seem to stay healthy, and the ones that they are keeping around can't seem to block anyone. It is really a problem, and they need to get it figured out. And I know we keep saying this, but they really don't have a choice. And if they want to look in free agency to try to find a lineman to plug and play, so be it. But really what they have is everyone in that building, and they're going to have to just figure it out.
Just quick, I got to ask you about Watson. The Seahawks brought in 42-year-old Jason Peters. No? Yeah, maybe?
I mean, I don't know about him necessarily,
right.
But if there's a guy like that on the market that if you really cannot figure out this offensive line and you need to bring someone in to plug him in and give yourself a chance, then so be it. But as of now, I haven't gotten an indication that they're going to go that route.
Okay.
But you got to get healthy and you got to be able to produce on the field.
To that Watson situation where Noah, it's a hot topic, that one specific play. Orlovsky ripped it. Matt Verdane brought it up this morning on SI. He had Ford in the flat. We played it. The groundswell of benching him. And I know it's hot topics, and I don't think they're going to do it. I think they're going to ride this out for as long as they can. Because, no, I don't think Jameis Winston could have won that game on Sunday. Where do you sit? Where do you think the Browns sit about any potential thoughts of making a move at quarterback?
They're starting Deshaun Watson until it'll be almost, you'll know when they can't do it anymore. And it's not at that point. They're only 3 weeks in. You need to give it more time. Again, the offensive line, you're using it as almost a scapegoat, or some people are, but it is a big deal. If the offensive line play was better, you might be able to see better quarterback play. You might be able to see the offense move the ball up and down the field. So I don't think that is a thought yet. They want to continue to get him reps out there. They want to see if this can improve.
Noah Weiskopf joining us, OBR. You can always follow him on Instagram and Twitter at Browns with Noah. Ken Dorsey's name also being brought up a lot. And I kind of went off where I'm a Kevin Stefanski fan. I think he's very good at his job. But Sunday was a bad game and might be his worst game that I've seen him coach. Whether that's Dorsey's fault, whether that was just ill-prepared or the injuries, but people are trying to make this out that Ken Dorsey is the scapegoat. And no, just your thoughts on that. I don't buy that. I don't know the real impact that Ken Dorsey is having. I get people can read and say, well, he just got here and it looks as bad as ever, and look what they're doing in Buffalo. How much do you think Ken Dorsey is involved in some of the Browns' failures here with the offense?
I think he's heavily involved with everything going on. I don't know necessarily if you can put the blame on any one person. And right. I mean, I think really everyone is at fault. I'll offer you two ideas here. One, give credit to the New York Giants. Like, they came out, they totally outcoached the Browns. They outplayed them. They knew exactly what the Browns wanted to do, and they were able to go against that. They knew the Browns would bring pressure. Daniel Jones got the ball out quick. They knew the Browns, their offensive line issues. They blitzed on I don't remember what the percentage was, but a crazy amount of
57%. 57%.
They blitzed on over half of the plays. And that is the key to success against the Browns. And Brian Daboll and his coaching staff knew that, and they executed that perfectly. Give credit to the Giants. It's a professional football team, and they outcoached the Browns. And then also, we mentioned all the coaches or who's at blame. Bill Callahan, they miss him a lot. And that is a huge, huge loss. And I don't think people really realize that in this past offseason, in the preseason, I was told by multiple people that just watch for this regular season. I'm telling you, Bill Callahan's loss is going to be felt. And it certainly has been. People around the league know it. I spoke to league execs. I spoke to league sources. Everyone sort of had that idea that Bill Callahan's loss was going to be a big deal and be felt. And it was, Bill, it wasn't necessarily with the starters. It was with those backups or those practice squad guys that he elevated. And then when they were plugged in there, they were able to fill that void for the time being. And that's not what you're seeing now.
And also, Noah, I mean, the game planning, not just the X's and O's, put your hand here, but I think there's been deficiencies on the game plan. And O-line coach, a lot of their job is this is what we're going to block, and this is how we're going to handle all this. I know you got to run. A couple quick things on the injuries. With the offensive line, we know Teller is gone. I'm okay with Zinter getting in there. I think that could actually be a lot worse of a situation. What do we know about Wills, Conklin, DeJuan Jones battling injury just across that offensive line front? What do we got?
Yeah, Conklin, I don't get the sense that his hamstring tweak was something serious, but I do get the sense that they wanted to keep him out for precautionary reasons. Very unfortunate for Conklin, especially, and then a fan base that was basically knew that he was going to be returning. I don't think that I would rule him out yet for this week. I would be kind of surprised if Wills played, especially considering the performance. It's kind of like you got to balance like his injury versus putting him out there sort of injured versus what he was able to do in his first game back. You have to balance that and really understand what you want to play out there. And then DeJuan Jones, the interesting part of this whole thing is he started that game. They pulled him in the middle of the game because of performance issues, put in James Hudson, and then had to put him back into the game. So that's really what the state of this offensive line is. And in terms of DeJuan, I don't know if he's going to be able to suit up out there, but they certainly need bodies. And that's the end of the story, is they need guys to go out there and try to get more comfortable. But it's not like they have an easy game, right? No. You're going against Max Crosby. He's going to be relentless all game, one of the best defensive players in the league. So you're going to need as many linemen as you can, and you're going to have to try to avoid injury. They need to just step in there and play.
Final thing, no, I always appreciate Sean, man. Myles Garrett with the feet. I'm concerned about that because it sounds like this is something that's not going to be a quick fix. Do you think the Browns maybe need to consider just sitting him down, or is this something that all year he's just going to be hampered by these feet injuries?
I mean, I think anyone can tell the Browns that they need to try to get him to sit down. Good luck getting him to sit down. He's going to keep playing through this. I do think that whatever the procedure could happen after the season. But if this, I think the biggest concern, at least for me, is that if this foot issue seems to hamper something else, right? Like he's playing through the foot issue. He's relying too much on a different body part, whatever it might be. Calf, he had a calf injury. That he had an MRI on. My biggest concern is that if his foot injury is hurting him that much in the game, then he's relying too much on different, muscle or whatever it might be, then that could be a bigger issue where he's, putting too much on that other muscle. But as of now, I mean, they're good luck getting that guy in this situation to sit down and try to take a couple of games off. Because I mean, you take a couple of games off and lose a couple more games, then you're really, really in a bad situation.
I think it's a fantastic point. No, there's a saying in NASCAR that cautions breed cautions, injuries breed injuries, because you hurt something, you compensate. There were a final thing. You're walking, and we're going to Vegas. You're walking the casino. Where are you going? Blackjack, roulette, your craps guy, slots. What are you walking to? You're a young man, though, so I don't know how much time you spent in casinos.
Not much. Blackjack. I play a little blackjack.
All right, fair enough. There he goes. No, Weiskopf, really appreciate your time, man. We'll talk to you next week, all right?
Sounds good. Thanks.
I got a Vegas story for you later, Ryan, because I thought, I missed that. Like, I thought about, no, we should be asking people, we're going to Vegas this week. Where do you go when you walk in the casino? Don't let me forget to tell you my funny Vegas story later. But a lot of great stuff there with Noah. And I think, first off, on the Myles Garrett thing, he's right. You start compensating with the foot, then other things can kind of happen. But that stuff about Bill Callahan and understanding that, there was some narrative for some people, and I've listened to some national people that have talked about some of the Browns' struggles. And there was somebody, I can't even remember who. Well, actually, I do, but that's okay. And they go, well, the Browns are at fault for letting Bill Callahan walk away. I go, what do you mean walk away? The guy left. It's not like they walked in and they go, hey, Bill, get out. You're fired. They wanted him to stay in the worst way, and he left for a 1 in a million opportunity to go help his son, who became an NFL head coach. So that narrative, which I think is a small one, but it gets lost on the national side sometimes, and people saying, oh, Bill Callahan left, the Browns let Bill Callahan walk out the door. No, they didn't. He left, and they wanted him here in the worst way. But what Noah said, which was so right on, yes, I look at Ethan Posick, I look at Joe Bitonio, and I know Teller's hurt, but I look at those guys and say, you've been around Bill Callahan for 3 years now, or 4 years. You had to have picked something up in that time. But it is the other guys. Like, wouldn't you feel better about Zinter being in there if he had a guy like Bill Callahan? The development that we talk so much about DeJuan Jones going from year 1 to year 2 seems to be lacking a little bit. And you can circle it. And it's a point of, I guess, futility, because he ain't coming back. He's not coming back through that door. I actually have a better chance that LeBron James is coming back here than Bill Callahan.
That's happening.
You ride that. You keep thinking that. Yeah, all right, hold on to that for next year. But he's not coming back. So you got to make do with the best that you can. And that's why this gets to a point of something that we talked about yesterday. And I said a follow-up about our clips regarding the evaluation of Deshaun Watson, because there were people that saw that when I said I couldn't evaluate him from that game. And I said it was so bad that there was nothing to take away. I sent an updated one, and I want to say it here on the show as well. That's over for this week. My evaluation is back on, because no matter what you have to do, it is a known issue now. Come practice this afternoon, the Browns will give an update on their offensive line. They will know in-house truly where they sit, and it's no longer an excuse when they get to Sunday versus the Raiders. And yeah, Max Crosby is a really good player. Ryan, the Raiders defense is like total the second or third worst defense in football.
Third.
They're a little bit better on the pass, but they're really bad against the run. So you should be facing a defense, yes, I know, again, Max Crosby, but on the whole, you should be able to take advantage of that. Now, I talk about yardage statistics with the Raiders. Go look at the Browns' yardage on offense. Not great either. But you should be able to find some holes and find some ways for Deshaun Watson. So my evaluation is back on for Watson. You had a hiccup in the road. Wasn't necessarily all his fault. I know, Ryan, bad throws and all. And Matt Verdame, SI this morning. He pulled that same clip up that we played from Dan Orlovsky, and he cut right to the bone on SI, and he said it's time to bench him. It's the clip. We're going into the flat. Njoku. Well, it's not Njoku. He said it's Njoku. Yeah, it was Akins. I don't know why he said Njoku. But into the flat, he's wide open, and he looks, clutches, takes a sack. And Verdame jumped on that, and he said, for unknown reason, Watson looked that way, cocked his arm, and then did nothing.
Like,
we played the clip,
and that's not the only example of Deshaun not.
No, but it's the most glaring and easy one. Verdame writes, Browns need to get serious and bench Deshaun Watson. What does that solve? Let's play that out for a second, okay? Let's say that that is an egregious mistake that is unacceptable, and we need to sit him down. Not saying that he won't start again, but let's say you go to Jameis Winston. You're going to ask yourself to put yourself in the same spot as the Panthers. We're going to find out if this is really his fault or not. And here's another issue that's coming up with this Watson stuff. People are doing the same thing, but they're doing it with Joe Flacco, right? They're going back to what Joe Flacco was. I had people try to tell me, well, Flacco did it behind that offensive line. No. They were not as bad as they were on Sunday, okay? Now, you want to go to games 1 and 2? Sure, fine. People are trying to do the same thing. And this continues the evaluation, the experiment, if you will, of Deshaun Watson. Is it him or is it the offense? And there's a lot more things to boil down than just that, right? Is it him in this offense? This is what they're running. And we go back to what freaking Warren Sharp told us a month ago. That this ain't meshing together. What Stefanski does and what Watson does don't really mesh. But all that aside, you want the answer to that question. Is this truly all Deshaun Watson's fault? Is this something that it would be better off if you went somewhere else? Well, that's where you would lean towards going with Jameis Winston. I go to a clip. Oh, the sign's not up. Come get some, right? Greg and Blake were sitting here with Booms, and they were talking about it. You know what Greg Williams said? This guy's coached some football. He knows the NFL. And the line, you can go get the clip on social media. GW goes, those guys in between the lines know what the plays are supposed to be. Those guys know deep down if it's really Watson or the offense, right? Kevin Stefanski knows. Is this really Watson just missing guys, not running the right plays, not making the right reads, or is this offense just so screwed up that nobody would be able to run this effectively and efficiently? That will be the answer to the question of if they ever go to Jameis Winston. Now, I sit here and I say, I'm going to ride this out with Watson. I'm not trying to bench him. But if there was a push, which I don't think, and Noah heard it there too, I'm with him. I don't think there is a push right now. That will be your flip. That'll be your flip to answer the question if you think it's actually him, somebody could do better. Now, I want to play the worst case scenario. Let's say you go out Sunday and you lose. Now, you're going to ask me, how did you lose? Was Watson throwing it all over the yard and somehow Gardner Minshew turned back into Mike Vick? I sent that tweet out yesterday. You know that? In 51 career games outside of his Browns game, he has 3 rushing touchdowns. 1 game against the Browns, he has 2. There you go. Does he go back to a Mike Vick level and he torches the Browns and it's a shootout and we can't stop anybody and we lose? Well, you'd sit there and say, well, we ran the offense efficiently. Watson looked fine. The other side of it, it's a sloppy, disgusting, ugly game. And Watson looks bad. And that pressure mounts of trying to save your season, making the decision about Deshaun Watson, and ending this whole thing, you go Jameis Winston. I hope they win. I hope they win. But I really think the crux of the argument of if you want to bench Watson or not is just going to come back. Is it truly him or is it the offense? Kevin Stefanski's got that answer.
Well, let me ask you this, Matt, because you're a big proponent of how do I want to word this? You don't like when I bring up the contract, right?
Right.
You hate when I bring up the Deshaun's
mostly,
contract.
and just the only
I
full
get why you
transparency
do
on
that.
is
I
because the
understand.
contract just doesn't even like. I'm worried about winning games. I don't really care about the contract anymore. But
right,
continue.
but you're saying to not talk about the contract and bring that up when we talk about Deshaun Watson. But is that contract not the only reason that they have not benched Deshaun Watson yet? I get where you're going. Go ahead. If he wasn't a $230 million quarterback and he was playing on some scrub contract, would they not look at Deshaun Watson's performance and bench him?
Okay. No, because, and you might yell at me and say the contract has created this. He is your franchise quarterback. Now, okay, follow me on this. When I say the word franchise quarterback, you think of Patrick Mahomes. You think of Lamar Jackson. You think of Josh Allen. Franchise quarterbacks don't always have to be that elite. What it just means is you are the guy. Trevor Lawrence is playing like ass. He is still the franchise quarterback for the Jacksonville Jaguars, which you'll come back on that. He also got the bag, okay? He's paid. But what I'm talking about, maybe even more of why the contract is aside, is he or is he not the franchise quarterback for the Cleveland Browns?
Supposed to be.
He is, but for right now, he is. And that's why he's still starting. And that gets back to another...
He's your franchise quarterback because you gave
don't
him
have a
$230 million.
Because you don't have a choice. Right. $230 million, sure. But you don't have a choice.
But you do.
You don't.
You do,
For
man.
right now, he is until he isn't.
And that's up to the Browns.
Well, that's the thing. Who is going to make that decision, though? Because you got to think about that. If it were...
It should be Stefanski's choice.
Okay, if it was Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew, yes, I think we'd be having a different conversation.
But why?
But it's not.
But why? What has proved that Gardner is in the same conversation as Deshaun Watson?
I mean, you could probably pull
Money.
some stats and tell. Well, no, but what I'm saying, no. The Raiders, and this is probably a prime example, they don't look at either one of those guys as their franchise quarterback. Neither one of those guys truly are. There's a starter there. Do you get what I'm saying? Are you picking up? Are you understanding? You follow what I'm picking up? There are guys that have the label as being a franchise quarterback, for better or for worse, and there are varying levels. Is Sam Darnold the franchise quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings? No, he is not. Look at him, though. He's 3-0. He's filling in. They probably know he's not the future, but he is not the franchise, right? There are guys that are the franchise, even early in their careers. Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels. Who's the franchise in New England? You know it's Drake May. You know it is. Jacoby Brissett, who we love very much, is just the starter there. Yes, you're right. Watson is still the starter because he's got that label. When you make the decision to strip him of that label, that is not just benching a guy. That is shifting the whole organization. And I'm not saying that we won't get there one day, but to make that big of a move, you had better be sure, and there's no coming back from that. And that is why Watson is still starting.
Well, if we're not at that point yet.
We're not. I'm telling you, we're not. Right. It sucks. And this is hard. But that's the thing. This isn't a flip. Even between Drake May and Jacoby Brissett, that means very little. This is not a flip between Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew. That means very little to the Raiders. This, and whoever makes that move, right? Is this something that they sit down in that room, and it's the Haslams, and it's Paul DePodesta, and it's Andrew Berry, and it's Kevin Stefanski, and they sit there like Survivor and got to put that flame out, and they go, we're done. That is not a one-person decision. I guarantee you it's not. So what they need is for it to be an unequivocal truth that we need to take the entire franchise and we're going this way. That's why he's still your starting quarterback. And that's why he's going to be until that answer, when they sit in that room, nobody can make a case otherwise.
Okay, come a week from now, they lose to the Raiders. Deshaun looks horrible. We still sitting here having this
I'm
conversation.
sure that'll ramp up.
Are we still sitting here and doing this over and over again?
I pray to the God we don't have to do that show next week.
Okay, well,
I pray to God. But if we do, then that's all that's what they're staving off right now. That's what they're trying to hold off with this. And yes, the rest of the team is as much at fault, right? You have injuries, guys aren't playing well. Here's where we're at, right? It's a bad situation all around, okay? But it's still, you're uprooting everything and pushing this way. And it's like, what happens for me? So it's funny. I went to shout out to Dr. Scott. And I was talking to him yesterday, and we were talking about the Browns, and he goes, what do they do with Watson? And I said, well, I looked into it. Jack has too. You do a post-June 1 cut after this year, and you basically have 2 years that you've got to take about $45 million a year cap hit, something like that. I think they still like 80 some on the cap. No, more than that, I think. Whatever the numbers might be. And you rolled cap over and all that. We'll cross that bridge, but you are still taking the franchise and first off admitting that this was a giant mistake, but you're shifting everything. That's why you've not even heard rumblings. And again, for Dame, I'll go to Fowler and Graziano, which I love to do their mailbag. Which quarterback could be benched next? We'll go through that. And of course, Watson comes up on this. I'll give you another name on this list, which is interesting. And you talk about Watson. Here's Graziano. And, dude, like every uninspiring week from Deshaun Watson is Cleveland bringing us closer to Jameis Winston time. That's what Graziano writes. Fowler follows up. The new Watson reality is one that's tough to fathom. Fowler looked this up. Watson, in 2020 alone, had 10 300-yard games. Since then, 15 games in Cleveland. And he doesn't say how many he's thrown for, but has he thrown for a 300-yard game with the Browns?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. He shows glimpses of the old Deshaun every few throws here and there. But the body of work isn't good enough. The offensive line is depleted, which will apply more pressure. Cleveland has a good roster and needs to capitalize. I'm not expecting a quick hook. Barring a complete disaster on the field, there's too much invested in him. And again, it's not just the contract, but it's like you are just taking the whole franchise and say, we got to go this way. With no backup, right? I pulled up a mock draft for you this morning just because they're out. And I usually don't like I hate doing mock, and I love mock drafts. But this mock draft is just based off, well, actually, it's interesting. They do it off of what they expect to be the draft order. I'm trying to look through here. Because, like, number one is the Giants, and they're not number one right now. Then the Patriots, then the Titans, then the Bears, which is crazy, then the Broncos, then the Colts, Panthers, and at number 8, the Cleveland Browns. It's not a quarterback. It's an offensive tackle. Kelvin Banks out of Texas, offensive tackle. But that's the other thing. Could you go quarterback, keep Watts? I wouldn't even do that. Like, that's the other reason. When you do that shift, what else are you going to go to? Now, what also is a pain in this? You make this decision too late, this season is lost, right? And you might already say, what you're about to say, it might already be.
It's not already lost.
I don't believe that either.
That naive.
I don't believe that either.
But at the same time, your favorite word, you're at the precipice of it.
Yes. You are right here. You're staring this down. And you're going to ask, that's why this Sunday, my evaluation is back on. I will have, well, I shouldn't say, you never know how the game goes, but still, I will have no more excuses for Sunday. You know what the offensive line is. You know what they're probably going to try to do to you now. You should be able to run the football. We're back out there. And I will tell you this. I think Sunday is a great, test, if you will, experiment, if you will, where I'm going to look at Deshaun Watson and go, you better win this game. This is an inferior team, just like the Giants were. We know how that went. But it is now time to put a game like this on Deshaun Watson's shoulders and say, go win the game. Miles is hurt. Teller is out. Offensive line patchwork. You're missing other guys on defense. Go win the game because you are supposed to be that guy. Now, that's opposite of what I've been saying of coming up and say, go slow and get him back into the rhythm and all that. I'm going to expedite things just a little bit here. And I'm going to look at Sunday and say, go win this game. Go win this game. And I really think a mark of Sunday is going to be start running Watson a little bit more. And if he gets hurt, I don't want him to get hurt because then that chain, well, you get your answer to your question. I think he gets hurt. It's all done.
But why
anyway.
are we so sure that Deshaun Watson has the capability of getting back to a ceiling that's even better than Jameis Winston at this point? Like, what are we holding on?
You don't know that.
What are we holding on to?
No, 100%. You don't know the answer to that question. You're right. And that's the battle that the Browns are having. What I do think is what is hard on this is you do have the baggage of Watson. And I think the baggage is you're changing off your franchise quarterback. For better or for worse, he's your franchise quarterback. That is undebatable that he is your guy, whether you wanted him here or not, whether you want him gone or not. He is right now your franchise guy. You can't make that change without the entire organization being behind that. And I think you also need it to be an unequivocal answer yes. They're going to hold out hope that he can turn this around. And to what Fowler said there are throws. There are little times. It's just not consistent in any stretch of the imagination.
I hate that narrative more than probably anything I've ever seen. There's a few throws.
Sure.
He's an NFL quarterback. Sure. Every quarterback can make a good throw. Like, it's nauseating to sit here and keep hoping that Deshaun Watson isn't some shell of himself.
Yeah, no, I get it. Like, They need to find the way to make this work in a short term while you're battling all this other stuff. Look at Deshaun Watson and say, go and do what you do.
I get a better chance of getting struck by lightning.
I played the lottery this morning. Hopefully that'll help out. We'll see how that goes. All right, I do want to run through. We got plenty of guards to get to this morning as well as they clinched the bye. I'm happy about that, but I do have some guards takes I want to get to. But I want to run through the rest of Jeremy Fowler and Dan Graziano's mailbag. They do it every week, and it's one of my favorite things they do on ESPN. So their first question is, who are you hearing could be the next quarterback benched this season? Now, they started by saying there's a technicality that it'll be Malik Willis because Jordan Love is coming back off of injury. Sure, that's fine. If you had to vote, Ryan, which quarterback do you think is on the hook now, next quarterback bench, not Malik Willis?
Gardner Minshew.
Okay, they right. Gardner Minshew won the training camp battle with Aiden O'Connell. And there was the possibility of them flipping back and forth. Raiders played a lousy game and lost to the Panthers on Sunday. Pierce wasn't happy after, but they're sticking with Gardner Minshew. Fowler writes, the heat is squarely on Minshew, but his week 2 upset of Baltimore might be enough to buy him this extra week. Still, it's important to remember with the Raiders, some thought O'Connell did have the slight edge coming out of the offseason, but neither one of them separated themselves come preseason. So I agree with you on that. Now, the next up from Fowler, I'm going to go New England, is what he says. Drake May Chatter's only going to mushroom from here, and I got the sense all offseason Brissett would be the starter, but he needed to win some games to keep that job. I think eventually you got to put him in there. Other guys, the Will Levis situation, but can they really go to Mason Rudolph? I don't buy that. I think they ride Will Levis out. Of course, they bring up Deshaun Watson. Could there be a flip back to Bryce Young? Graziano brings up Anthony Richardson, though.
Stupid.
Yeah, and he says he needs to play more, decide to give him a week or two off to clear his head, maybe. Fowler says the sense with the Colts is they're going to ride with Richardson for a while, and I agree with that. So those are all the quarterbacks brought up for potentially to be benched. Next question. Who is the most confusing team in the NFL this season? Either good or bad. Who do you think is the most confusing team right now?
The Browns.
Okay. They go with Jacksonville, the number 1 team. The disastrous start, Trevor Lawrence looks bad, and they ran into the buzzsaw Monday night.
I mean, what's confusing about that? Trevor Lawrence isn't good.
Well, they were a playoff team a couple years ago. Just a couple years ago, they were in the playoffs.
By the skin of their teeth, and
sure.
they should have got blown out.
And, well, they were getting blown out by the Chargers, and then they had the choke job of all choke jobs. Graziano says the Cowboys? Are you confused by the Cowboys? See, that's my thing. I was
confused by Jerry Jones' dumb. Oh, my God.
Did you think it was weird how he came out as the GM owner of the team and he goes, yeah, you could put some of this on me. Do you think? Like, what do you mean? Wow, great job, Jerry, being humble. He came out this week and he goes, I guess you could put some of this on me. You think? You have no offensive weapons other than CeeDee Lamb, and you thought that was going to be enough?
And he comes out and says, we couldn't afford Derrick Henry.
Yeah, right. And that's another, that was another one, too. A Pro Football Talk was like, absolutely
$8 million with your ass, Jerry.
No, that's not happening. Do you think the Baltimore Ravens are a confusing team?
I wouldn't say they're confusing. I think they're missing pieces on defense. They had the last year. You lose Mike McDonald, you lose Patrick Queen, and then you're not running the ball for some damn reason. I don't think they're confusing. I just think they're going to get back to their roots, and they're going to be better than us.
You think the Bengals are confusing?
No, I just think their defense is the worst in the league.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Then they went through coordinators that'll be getting head coaching jobs. Did not bring up Jim Schwartz on any of those because, again, remember that was a big story, but not so much anymore. Then which team's injuries are most concerning? They obviously run with the 49ers here. Hargrave out for the year. Christian McCaffrey's in Germany getting his Achilles looked at. Kittle's been out. Debo's out. All that other kind of stuff. I thought it was interesting that they did not bring up the Browns in anything here. They go with the Bengals because now they got the news that Trent Brown is out for the year with a patella tendon injury, and they get to go to a Darius Mims. Now, that's not so bad because the scuttlebutt out of Cincinnati was there was some that thought Mims would start over Trent Brown anyway. But then Mims got hurt in preseason. They've been working him in as the 6th offensive lineman, so now they can just go to him even with Trent Brown out. But they do bring up Cincinnati. And also the Rams, Puka and Cooper Kupp being out. I thought it was interesting that they did not bring up the Browns at all as far as the team being most injured in this whole thing.
I mean, it's really
It's just the offensive line.
And
We're not
Njoku.
battling other things. I mean, Nick Chubb kind of gets lost in everything here, forgetting
Njoku.
that he still is injured as a part of it. But I want to run through. That was interesting. Quarterback's going to be benched, and the team that is most confusing. So that's where we're at with the Browns. And listen, today will be a big day to get some ideas if these guys are going to play. Here's my gut. Okay, this damn fly. We need a fly trap in here or something. Here's where I think we're at. Jones going to be your right tackle. Zinter's your right guard. Posick, Petonio. I think just Jack Conklin goes back in there. Hearing what Noah had to say, if you missed the interview, go back on our YouTube page. We'll post that on the brand new Big Play app, which you can download with all the interviews right there. If he was close and they just held him out as a precautionary reason, bro, precautions are out the door now. They're out the window. We got to go. So I'm assuming that Jack Conklin will get the start at left tackle. But are we signing up for the same problems we saw with Jed Wills on Sunday? That's a guy that has not played football in over a calendar year, coming off of now multiple different injuries, and we factor in that this is in a foreign position to him. He hadn't played there since college.
I think Jack Conklin's better than Jed Wills with one leg.
I mean, it's going to have to be that way. It's going to have to be. Now, you question a lot of things, and I think Zach Jackson was asking these questions, Kevin Stefanski. Why did you not have extra linemen up? Why did you not bring Jermaine Ifedi up off the practice squad on Sunday? I checked it this morning. Seattle's bringing in Jason Peters. He is 42 years old. Are we now at that point that you got to do something? Now, that requires probably well, I guess practice squad could be fine. And then you elevate him on up. You've got the cap space. But I also think after this week, you might have to make that declaration. Like right now, they're holding out that either Conklin or Wills are going to be their left tackle. And maybe this is just a weekly thing of flipping them in on out, right? But eventually you're going to have to find out what your answer is on the offensive line. And I think they're just waiting to see if these injuries kind of figure it out. Now, again, that comes back to Watson's got to play well. He's going to have to deal with this offensive line. But I wonder if they're going to have to go outside, go get somebody off the street. Is that better right now? Do you want a list of free agent offensive tackles?
It's almost like we should have drafted one, huh?
Yeah. If I got it right now. Damn. All right, this is from yesterday.
Just break your computer.
No. It's just like, it's terrible. Donovan Smith, David Bakhtiari, DJ Humphries, Jason Peters, Charles Leno, Billy Turner, Dwayne Brown, Riley Reif, Matt Nelson, Julian Davenport. Those are the best offense tackles off Sharp Football Analysis.
I've heard of one.
Oh, you know more than that. You know Bakhtiari.
That's the one.
You know Donovan Smith. Peters, you know. Leno is with the Pan. You want to know about the thing? All those guys, they're all old. There's the reason they're all available. Is there something? Now, again, I don't think we're there yet. That's like break glass case of emergency, or dare I say a trade or something coming up. I don't think you're quite there yet. I don't think you're there yet. But after this week, I think eventually you're going to have to get that figured out. Also get an update on Myles Garrett today. I'm super concerned about that. I don't like where we're at. And even going back to what Noah said, potential procedure after the season. Ryan, do you know how bad that, okay, this is something. I'm assuming if you and I had the same thing that Myles Garrett had, we're getting surgery next week. Myles Garrett can't have surgery for another 4 months. 4 months while still playing professional football. And that's one that I don't know how you fix that. That's one, I got guys to slot in. There's nobody that can pick up something from Myles Garrett. There's nobody that can take the baton from him and step up and do what we need to do in this defense. So big day today for the Browns. We'll get to all that coming up eventually when we hear more from Stefanski later today on some of the injuries. To flip it over to the guards. Nice. First round bye, clinch. Now this week is still a vital week for me, okay? We know the Astros yesterday at one point were 10 games back, just clinched the AL West last night, and we have them coming up for this weekend. So tonight, you finish it out with the Reds, you get an off day tomorrow, and then you got the Cheatstros. Here's where we're at. You still got to play a lot of these games. Because even last night, Class A pitching, when you're up 5, it's because he hadn't pitched in 4 days. That's where the rest of this week, knowing about the time off, you got to get game action. And I know that they'll play sim games next week. Tickets were on sale. I have secured playoff tickets. Thank you. God, I hope my kids go to sleep. Please, God. But playoffs are around. You still got to play all your guys. You're still going to have to play Jose. You're still going to have to play, get Clase his innings, get the starts. Now, again, you're going to dial it back eventually. But Ryan, that's where this week is not over for me. That's where tonight is still important. And I know that Astros are a playoff team. You can't just roll over them. I want to see more of Lane Thomas doing what he did last night. I want another 2-hit game for Jose. Because here's my mindset when it comes to the Guardians. I thought about this as a Twitter question. Now that we have clinched the first round bye, are you worried about that time off? Right? I'm not. I'm unequivocally no. Right? You got to keep your flow. You got to keep your rhythm and all that. Here's what I hope for the Guardians. They finish this week out strong. You pitch well, you hit, you do what you need to do. You get into then a week that is going to be very important on roster decisions. I'll keep banging my drum for Miles Straw. You'll figure out what you're doing with Cantillo, maybe Tristan McKenzie, what you're doing with the bullpen, what you're doing with Boyd, what you're doing with Cobb. You got to figure that all next week. You know what I hope happens, though, Ryan? That there is enough carryover, even in the time off, that we walk into that series with some swag, that we walk into that series confident. I want these guys, even with the time off, say this was great. We got to relax. You saw what that day off yesterday meant. They were talking about, Hammy and Rosie were talking about on the broadcast last night, where the last off day they had, they were popping champagne. Hammy had a good line. He goes, yeah, that off day was spent wiping champagne out of your eyes, right? Yesterday was one of their first true off days where they weren't celebrating, they could relax, and what they do last night, played an amazing game. Now you take it for what is the Reds, and they're a head case right now and all that, but their off day meant something to them. Now I look at it, and I think about the bigger time off, and I just want them to keep that swag. And I think they got a little going right now, and I think guys are feeling good. That carryover is going to be vitally important for that week off. So I thought about that as a Twitter question. Are you worried about the time off the Guardians will have by clinching a bye? My answer is unequivocally no, but they got to keep that. It's like, yes, getting in real pitching and real game situations, that's all important too. But I'm more of the mentality thing. I'm more of the mindset thing.
I mean, for two reasons. I mean, you still have a chance to get the number 1 seed. Like, let's not flush that away. They lost to the Orioles. If the Orioles beat them again today and we win, we're 1 game back.
Right. I guess I've kind of,
and also let's not pretend that a realistic scenario wouldn't be to face the Astros again in the playoffs. Right.
No, if it lined up this way, I
want to go sweep the Astros. I don't want them thinking there's a chance in hell they can come beat us in the playoffs.
No, and that's something, too, where I talked about that, about how the bracket is set up right now with where you're at. You're the 2 seed, the Yankees are the 1 seed. Somehow the Yankees, I thought, got the tougher draw because the Yankees, as it sits right now, would have the winner of Baltimore and the Royals. Okay, and now I know the Royals, like, you know, they're not the Twins, but they're skidding right now. And the Orioles are hanging around. They're still a little nervous. We would get the winner of the Tigers and the Astros series because the Astros, by virtue of them being the number 1 wild card team, so to speak, because they win the division, they get the lowest wild card. And that's how that sets up where we'd face them. I had people tell me right away, like, Matt, you're wrong, man. I'd rather face the Royals. But I just don't think it's going to be them. I think it's going to be Baltimore.
I don't care who we play personally. Like,
well, I do. I care.
But I want the number 1 seed the whole way through. Go look at their home record.
Sure, and that's an important part of this. And you're talking about if you got to the Yankees, tell me you don't want potentially a Game 7 here.
I don't want to see Aaron Judge hitting 300 feet home runs.
Oh, I don't either. But, like, I care a little bit of how we play. I'm more about the time off. I guess you and I differ on this. I'm good right now. The fact that we have clinched the bye, that was the last thing for me. So now that they got that, I'm good. I'm fine. And you're right. I'd like to have the number 1 seed for all those contingency plans and whatever, but I'm fine with where we're at. I really am. So that's what it is. Flip over to a little bit of basketball before I tell you my Vegas story coming up here in a second. Predicting the next 3 seasons of power rankings. This came out from ESPN. They went around to their analysts, Kevin Pelton, Bobby Marks, and Tim Bontemps, to rate teams in 5 different categories to understand who they believe will be the best team over the next 3 years. The 5 categories. Number 1, current players on the team. Number 2, management front office. Number 3, coaching. Money, salary cap space. Number 4, draft capital. And number 5, their market. Like what market they play in, I guess that has a factor in. So they say the number 1 most threatening team over the next 3 years in the NBA.
Can I guess?
Sure. Do you want me to give you the rank?
How big is a market an influence on this?
So do you want this? This team, number 2 for current players, number 1 for management, number 3
across the whole. Oh no, this is according to these rankings. Okay.
Yes. Number 3 in money and draft, but number 27 market. There's your hit.
Yeah, the Thunder.
The Thunder are correct.
That's what I was
The
gonna say
Oklahoma
originally.
City Thunder are number 1. Number 2 most powerful team over the next 3 years in the NBA.
Give me those rankings again for them.
For this team?
Yeah.
Number 1 players. Number 2 management. Number 30 money. Number 8 market. And number 18 draft.
What do they mean by draft?
Draft capital. How many picks do you have?
30th in money.
They have no salary cap space. This should be a layup for you. Oh, that's a bad pun. Sorry.
Oh, Celtics.
Celtics are correct. They got 2 guys on some fat-ass contracts. The Boston Celtics are number 2. Number 3, future power rankings. Number 3 players, tied 4th for management, 25th in money, 23 in draft, number 1 market.
Number 1 market? It's going to be LA.
Mm-mm.
How's that not the number 1 market? Philadelphia.
Mm-mm.
Knicks.
New York Knicks are number 3.
Are they really number 1?
I guess. Number 4 is Philly. Number 5 is Dallas. 6 is Denver. 8 Houston. I'm sorry, 7 Houston. 8 Minnesota. 9 Golden State. 10 San Antonio. 11 the Magic. Grizzlies are 12. And at number 13, your Cleveland Cavaliers. They have the 8th best roster in basketball according to these rankings. Do you want to know where all their other problems are? 19th for management, 22 for money, 25 for draft, and 26 for market, which I don't think really factors in this at all. So what they're saying is you have a top 10 roster and are basically 20th or beyond in everything else. Is that good enough for 13th for your future with the Cavs? They write up. Cavs won a playoff series for the first time without LeBron since 1993. Yet last season raised questions about their future. Cleveland played its best basketball without Darius Garland and Evan Mobley, while the duo dealt with injuries, suggesting they might not fit with Donovan Mitchell and Jared Allen. The Cavs opted for continuity this summer, betting on new coach Kenny Atkinson can get more out of this group. If that doesn't work, the Cavs, with only a few draft picks and a payroll already in the luxury tax, could choose to trade a core player. That is from Kevin Pelton. Yeah, I mean, I think that's the layup for the Cavs. And I would tell you 13th in the NBA, as far as the future goes, I would bank on players. I will always bank on current players in the NBA. Yeah, you could have salary cap, but I guess the market point is like, can you draw free agents in and bring people in to go play with your team? But again, I think that comes back to players. I'm sure there's a lot of guys that would love to come play with Donovan Mitchell. I am one that am shocked that they did not move on from one of their guys this offseason, specifically Darius Garland. I don't think anything changes. You got a little sample size before the trade deadline to see where you're at, and if this works with Atkinson, there's reports out that they're entrenched in keeping all these guys for the whole season. I do not buy that for a second. We'll see how it plays out. But I think 13th is proper, right? As far as the future of the Cavs, because you know it is tied in the players. You don't have salary cap, you don't have draft picks, and I think you've got questions with the front office and with your head coach. But it could go great with Kenny Atkinson. It could go amazing. Kobe Altman, we'll see. We'll see. But that's kind of where the Cavs are sitting. Ryan, that's kind of what I expected for him, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that's fine with me. I mean, it did take some gonads to just completely run this thing back, and I don't know how much I buy it. Like, is JB really that much of a scapegoat? Like, well, obviously he is that much of a scapegoat. Wasn't his choice, but like, It's hinging on what? It's Evan Mobley, right? I mean, why'd you bring in Kenny Atkinson in the first place, right? Because he's supposedly this player development whisperer, right? I mean, you saw him and you had your little stint in Brooklyn where you exceeded, but expectations were low. Now you're on a team that has playoff, what the word? Inhibitions? Is that the word I'm looking for?
Sure, probably.
Playoff. Does that make sense?
Goal? Yeah.
No. What's the word I'm looking for?
Inhibitions sound like, isn't inhibitions when it's something you don't want to do?
No, I don't think so. Oh, gosh. Now we're on a whole derail the show.
Inhibitions, a feeling that makes one self-conscious and unable to act in a relaxed and natural way.
Ambitions. Maybe.
Yeah, ambitions. Playoff ambition. Yes, that's probably the word that you're looking for.
That's the word I'm looking for right now. I mean, but you're
talking
talking about a coach now in the first place, like missing the playoffs is unacceptable, right?
Right. Yeah.
And honestly, anything I would say outside of the Eastern Conference Finals at this point for what this team is
you better be a
projected to
top 4 seed and you better be in the Eastern Conference Finals. That's kind of where we're at. All right, plenty to come up in hour 2. An important day for us. Always Wednesday's the pivot point for the grid. Again, we get all 5. We'll get some good luck to the Browns, but we'll have giveaway for everybody out there. We'll get to that coming up. We'll get to time up. We got the morning update. We got all. You ready for my Vegas story? So we're talking to Noah about going to Vegas and what games you play in the casino. Ryan, what game do you sit down and play when you walk into a casino?
Roulette.
Roulette. I like roulette a lot.
I like to not have to think.
I'll play blackjack. Oh, it's a strategy to roulette. There's still strategy you can play a little bit. There's strategies. Trust me. I've looked them up. I have them. I'm ready to go.
Okay, please enlighten me. How is there possible strategy?
So there's a few different ones, okay, that you can play.
You're talking about their strategies in terms of how you lay out your chips.
Yes, there's one that's like a 70% hit rate. So what you do is you play street bets every other down the side, and then you bet second and third 13s. And then you're good. Or 13s or whatever it is. Second and third thirds.
Okay.
And that hits at almost a 70% rate. That's how you build your bankroll before you start playing. But anyway, so I go to Vegas with my brothers, right? And we sit down, and my brother had not played roulette before. So we were there for 4 days. So a couple of days said, let's go down to like 10 o'clock. There won't be anybody there. It'll be cheap, and I'll show you how to play. So we sit there, and I'm just showing basic strategy, right? This is what this is, and this is what this is. So this guy walks up. It's 10:30 in the morning, Las Vegas. He's got a sport coat on. I was like, okay, all right. You're in Vegas. You're proper. Okay, fine. So he sits down, bro. He lays $400 down on the table. I was like, it's a $10 table. It's a lot of money, but whatever. So then the dealer looks at him, and he goes, do you want singles or nickels? This guy looks at me and goes, what does that mean? And I was like, oh, my God, you don't know what you're doing. And I said, when he gives you these chips, because on roulette, you got to play colored chips so you know they're yours. Do you want each of those chips to represent $1 or $5? And he goes, I guess 5, right? Hands him his chips. Guy looks back at me. How does he know that mine are worth 5? And I was like, do you see how he stacked 2 of your color over there? That tells you it's double. That means you're playing 10s or 5s instead of 1s. He goes, oh, okay. He lays it out. He starts by not putting enough money on the table. And I go, you have $400 worth of chips, playing $5 chips. He put 1 in the middle, 1 on the outside. And the dealer goes, you have to pick those up. The guy looks at me and I go, you have to play $10 either on the inside or play $10 on the outside. His son is with him, and his son has just got this like look on his face of like, oh my God, dread. Bro, that guy lost $400 in 27 minutes.
Yeah, dude.
He walked away to the ATM, came back with another $300 and lost that over a half hour.
Bro doesn't care.
I pick up my glass, a guy walked away, I look at my brother and I go, that's why these drinks are free. This guy had no idea what he was doing. And I don't mean to laugh because, like, I don't know craps all that well, but I'm not going to sit down with $400. Again, well, no, more than that, $700 over an hour and choke it away. The guy kept making mistakes left and right. He kept asking me what I was doing, you know, because I'd play corners or I'd play street. And this guy goes, what are you doing there? And I was basically teaching, again, I was trying to teach my brother. This guy's like watching, looking at me. Well, I wasted all that money. I was like, dude. And I know there's a lot of Browns fans going out to Vegas this weekend. Gamble safe, please. Gamble safe. Maybe we should have done that this week, Ryan. We should have brought in a roulette table. I'll teach everybody how to do it.
That'd be sweet.
Teach everybody how to do it. because everybody also looks at the numbers. You know that scientists and probability people would say don't ever look at the numbers because they don't mean anything. People look at like, oh, we're due for a black, we're due for red. This number's due. That has nothing to do with it. That actually has nothing to do with it at all.
Of course it doesn't.
No, it's just tricking you into doing it. You know, casinos,
That's like flipping a coin. Oh, I'm due for a tails.
You know, casinos have no hard corners. Because when you walk down a hallway and are forced to make a sharp turn, that makes your brain work. They don't want you doing that. Next time you go to a casino, everything is a soft turn.
Interesting.
Everything is a soft turn.
Interesting.
To go. The lights on the slots, what are those? Flashing and bright. Brain receptors. They open you up to feel good and feeling good about it. What else? I guess the oxygen. Supposedly, they pump more oxygen in there to make you, get a little high going for you like that. And then there's still some casinos which are crazy to me, let you smoke still in there. They have the smoking sections and not, which are still crazy. What else? Just the next time you go to a casino, understand there's never any hard right turns.
Interesting. There's
something about the color red. There's usually a lot of red in casinos, red carpet, red things around there. I'm jonesing to go. I wish my buddy Pat's going. I know there's a lot of Browns fans that got on the that fan service that's going, and they're going. I hope everybody's a great time. I really hope the Browns bring it on back, but for the win. But yeah, I just think that story going to Vegas, man. This guy's just choking it away.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Dude, seriously. And again, I'm assuming he was
trust fund, baby.
Well, he had to have been. He had a nice suit jacket on and he was there to play. But it's insane that I felt bad. Was I my brother, he walked in, my brother goes, "Should you help that guy?" And I was like, "If you wanted to pay me, sure." And the thing is, when you don't know roulette, that is a time to go to sit down. And roulette is a game that you can't screw things up for other people. Blackjack, you can screw up for other people.
Yeah, people get pissed.
People get really mad when you take a card you're not supposed to or let the dealer go when you're not supposed to. Blackjack, if you're going to learn, that's best to sit down with a group that you're at the whole table that nobody can get mad at you about. Yeah. Roulette's a lot easier to play, though. Like you said, you're throwing chips there, playing cards, whatever, that's fine. Blackjack gets you screwed up, though. Blackjack gets you in a little bit of trouble, though. I got thrown out of a casino because they thought I was counting cards. Do you really think I look like a guy smart enough to be counting cards?
No, you never know.
I doubled down on a 14 and hit a 7. So they thought I was counting cards. I was just being an idiot. And they thought I was counting cards. They asked me to politely leave, not come back. That was in Arizona. I was out with Riz and Gerard for spring training. We went to a casino one night. That was in Arizona. They asked me to never leave.
Let's go to the Cleveland one.
Dude, I haven't been to the Jack in forever, man.
I've never been to it.
Really? Of my experience, I've been to Vegas, Arizona, Pittsburgh, Detroit, Cleveland. I will tell you, the Cleveland one is the smallest of all of them because the Cleveland casino was built in not the Halley building. What was oh my God, Higbee's. It was built in Higbee's, right? All the other casinos are purposely built casinos, right? They're standalone. Well, I guess the Detroit one's in the bottom of the hotel. You'll understand if you go to the Cleveland one, it's actually really cramped. It's actually not really big. Go to the other ones, and it's spread out, and it's vast, and it's everywhere. It's fine. It gets it done. MGM is actually, you want to know what? And I don't know if they're getting table games yet. If they got table games at MGM, Northfield Park, I'd actually probably prefer to go there.
Yeah.
It's a little more laid out.
I used to live 5 minutes from there.
Yeah, it's not a bad spot, but I don't think they have table games yet.
No, they don't.
They don't. It's still just the slots and the things like that. There's a bill they're pushing through that you can start doing that on your phone, like gambling, like blackjack, roulette, poker on your phone.
Yeah. I mean, you can kind of do stuff like that on like FanDuel.
Kind of. You can do it in Pittsburgh, though. I was on a bachelor party in Pittsburgh, and we were sitting on the couch, and my one buddy's sitting there, and he's just like, I'm like, sitting there feeling, I'm like, what are you doing? And he goes, I'm playing blackjack. And I go, what? And he goes, build my bankroll for tonight. I'm like, you might have a problem.
Yeah, I'll never play casino on a phone.
I don't, dude. I will stay.
Is rigged.
And I'm not, right. I'm not saying that blackjack isn't, or roulette. I've had people swear that there's a pedal underneath the roulette table that they push, to make it move one way or another. I'd like to believe that that's not true, but when a computer is making those decisions, I'm out, man. I can't tell. I don't think I've ever played slots. I'll put it this way: I've not played slots in 10 years. 10 years. I've not played. Slots are one. And dude, that video of that person on the scooter and they're just going around and hitting all the buttons. Like, what are you doing?
Unreal.
And I get that that's a hobby for some people, which is fine. But I just feel like I'm in a little more control with like roulette and blackjack. Like blackjacks are my own decision, right? You're sitting there. This is the strategy. And you can still bust and you can still play it out and get hurt and all that kind of stuff. But there's something about the video side of it that, I just not quite jiving with me on that. But for all the people heading out to Vegas, hopefully you enjoy it. And it's the other thing too, man. There's a big contingent going out there. And I get that that's the whole point of Vegas, right? When they put that team there, when Oakland moves there, which we should talk about that owner's letter and all that kind of stuff. But when they move that team there, it's like you're going to go because the Guardians are going or because the Browns are going. And then, again, there's fans of those teams in that town. But there's a pretty big groundswell of people going out there to go. And it sucks because we lost Sunday. And I think it puts a damper on everything. But it's like you just got to rally and go, man. You can't have, well, I guess you can have a really bad time in Vegas, certainly. But, like, you're excited to go and all that. But it's just like, man, that's why that loss on Sunday just hurts even that much more. Hurts just that little bit much more as we get out there. But, hey, man, we're winning Sunday. I'll give you my pick right now before Friday. We're winning that freaking football game on Sunday.
I will not be picking the Browns.
Really?
No, Matt. Deshaun Watson's horrible.
No. Nah. We're winning that game. We are winning that game on Sunday. I know it. I feel it. I think the line is going to move, but still, I'm going to take the Browns. All right, hour 2 upon us. When we come back, we'll dive into the morning update. Can you bring up the Pirates story? Did you see that Rowdy Tellez story with the Pirates? Bring it up. I'll tell you what it is. We'll get to that coming up. An important day for the grid. We'll dive into Time Hop. More Browns to get to as well. Stay with us. Fontana Show right here. You can always follow us on Twitter, X, at Matt Fontana Show. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're up on Instagram, Twitch, and the brand spanking new Big Play app. Big Play app's where it's at. It is free. Download it on your smart TV. Boom. You get everything. You get Jensen Lewis, The Return, Enter the Jungle, Come Get Some, Bonus Time, Bobby Carpenter, our brand new Big Play tailgate. There's our show. Jameis Winston, who I think just shot some stuff, maybe?
Yeah, he did.
Maybe ready to go for us. It's all there, folks. The app is free to watch, and you can also just sign in. And then you can like shows, you can watch the show, and we have a 24-hour stream of the show going on that you can catch. The replays of us, Josh Maria, they had Mary Kay Cabot on a couple of weeks ago. She's always the best.
What's on right now?
What is airing at the exact moment that we are doing this, the Big Play Cleveland show just started after the loss to the Giants. So that's there. Then we go to The Return. Then The Return again. Then Come Get Some. Then Hanford Dixon. Then us. Then the Big Play Cleveland show with Austin Hedges. Then Bobby Carpenter. They had Bill Bender on. I love Bill. He's great from the Sporting News.
They have him on every week.
Oh, they do? Mm-hmm. Oh, great. Okay, good. Then Greg and Blake again. Then Drennan. Then Bobby Carpenter. Then us. Overnight. So there you go. Have a little insomnia. Pull up the Big Play app and check us out. All right there. It is free to download. Get it today. All right. Morning update next. Stay with us.
I'm Garage Beer, and this is Bobby Carpenter.
Garage Beer. Beer-flavored beer.
Beef with an F? Okay, my bad. It's crisp and cool, and it doesn't taste like ass. I'm Bobby Carpenter. I drink in garages because my wife says I don't belong inside. If you like a cold breeze on your bag, drink Garage Beer. It's American, and so can you. Garage Beer. Beer-flavored beer.
Well, how do they know I'm doing this? Did somebody leak this out?
It's social media.
Oh.
It's just, that's the way social media works now.
I thought maybe you were just running that yap.
Even though our strength of schedule was number 1 in the NFL, I think we have the dogs up front. We have the dogs in the back. As it relates to our defense alone keeps us in these games. Not even talking about offense. Let's just say Deshaun Watson isn't there. We got dogs on the defensive side that's mirroring the potential of the Ravens from 2001 or 2000 Ravens with Jamal Lewis and the boys and Ray Lewis and those guys. They won Again, no disrespect to Trent Dilfer, but they won without a high-powered offense.
I don't buy into this nonsense, this conspiracy nonsense that he's got his money and he's dogging it. That's ridiculous.
They're off in the Kentucky Derby as Authentic takes them around the far turn. Tis the Laws making his move now, and they're into the stretch. These two stride for stride. Authentic, tis the Law. Here's the wire. Authentic has won the Kentucky Derby.
All right, Ryan's got the morning update. Welcome back, Fontana Show, right here on Big Play, Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, all over the place, YouTube, new Big Play app. Follow us there at the Matt Fontana Show. And it's important, I'll tell you this too. It's important that you follow our socials because when we ace the grid this week and we do a giveaway, you got to be following on some social.
Is this still the same giveaway you've had in mind for a while?
I've kind of had a little flip. Kind of a little flip. This one's a big one, though. This one's a good one. Do you want to do it that they have to be subscribed to our YouTube channel?
Yeah, I do want that. I mean, I know a good giveaway.
What? Do you want to tell me?
I mean, not now.
Not now?
No,
you want it to be a surprise?
I don't want to say it unless we get it.
Okay, fair enough. So we'll get to that coming up with the grid. But Ryan's got the morning update. I'll tell you about this Pirate story, which is crazy, but I imagine you're maybe starting with a little other type of baseball.
That'd be correct.
Yeah, Guards! I don't know where you're going
the
with
Guardians, they get the victory over the Cincinnati Reds. It's hard to call it a rivalry at this point. They take home their 10th consecutive Ohio
Cincinnati
Cup
guys
title.
were running, man. They didn't even want to come out with us. They didn't even bring up the fact
I'll tell
that
you, Cincinnati right now is down in the dumps.
No, it's not a good spot.
They are down in the dumps. But Guardians get the win last night, 6-1. Tanner Bybee goes 7 innings, just 4 hits, 1 earned run, 7 strikeouts. Guardians play the Reds again. Finish this 2-game series. Joey Cantillo on the mound.
So it's funny. I had a parlay boosted up, and I pulled it because I thought that the rain might come in, and they might have to pull Bybee early. What a mistake that was. Bybee was on it yesterday. Well done for the Guards. You got Class A a little bit of work. You get the bye. How about Kyle Manzardo? You ready for this? In the month of September,
Yep.
he batted 3-4. I know we got games to go still. 314, 16 hits, 5 home runs, and 8 RBIs in the month of September. That is the one that you want to see that a send down helps. He went down, he got the swing back, you beat up on some minor league pitching, you come back and you're bringing it to the major league club now. He's like, and again, this will go as far as Clase and Ramirez and Jimenez and Naylor. I get it. But guys like Kyle Manzardo, guys like Angel Martinez, what can Brian Rocchio give you? I'll put Lane Thomas in the top one, of that group. But Ryan, of that list, who's a guy I did not mention? Stephen Kwan.
Yeah.
And what he is coming off this injury, the general soreness that eventually turned into a back, like any team's run comes down to 4 or 5 guys. 4 or 5 guys. And I imagine it's going to be Clase Ramirez. I think Josh Naylor. I would like to say Stephen Kwan. And maybe a Lane Thomas, maybe a Hunter Gass. I didn't mention a starting pitcher there. What are you doing? What's your rotation like? The core is there, but it's going to be guys like Manzardo. It's going to be guys that, like,
Jimenez.
Jimenez. Just are they producing? Is Rocchio there with the glove? And that's why, like, I know a lot of people aren't all hyped up on this. I am. I cannot wait to see what the roster is for the ALDS. I cannot wait to see what the mad scientists cook up, so to speak. You got to take Boyd. You're taking Lively. You got to take. I think you got to take Gavin Williams. Bybee. Like, what do you do with Alex Cobb? Like. All this stuff is circling, but don't forget, there's going to be games that it's going to be guys like Kyle Manzardo that help you get a win. Stuff like that is what helps you be able to take down the Giants. I'm talking about the Yankees, not the Giants like the Giants. I'm talking about the Giants of baseball. You want to take the Dodgers down? You want to take the Phillies down? It's going to be guys like that. They're going to have to step up. So a hot month for Manzardo. I like to see it. Lane Thomas, the hell of a month as well.
I believe 6 home runs in the last 30 days for Lane Thomas.
Well, and I think he's got... What did Hammy say? Like 16 RBI? No, it's something like that. 16 RBIs in a month or something crazy like that.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I mean, if you got 6 home runs in a month.
Yeah, you're probably right. Something like that. But yeah, it's been a great month for the Guardians. Get these guys back on track. Still got some things to finish out this week, though.
Alrighty, well, despite being 10 games back mid-June, of course, as you called them earlier, which I like, the Cheat Stros clinched their 4th straight American League West title. Matt, this is the 8th consecutive year that the Astros will be playing in October.
Will you forget about the cheating thing when Altuve retires?
Nope.
I don't think I will either. And just the disgrace that Rob Manfred didn't take that World Series away from them. Not a piece of crap. But anyway, and being 10 games back, how did the Mariners fumble that, man? I mean, the Angels suck. The Athletics suck. It was always going to be a 2-horse race. And the Rangers were supposed to be solid. They just got hurt. But, like, dude, so bad. So bad. And they run it down. Okay, fine. They're in the postseason again. Are you afraid of the Astros? I'm not.
No.
I'm not. I mean, we'll get a little look at them. Watch the games this weekend, though, because... Would we have Bybee? You got Cantillo going tonight.
But at that point,
then you got an off game. I kind of don't know if I want to see. I don't want them to get a look at Bybee.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't know if I want him thrown.
If you're not vying for that 1 seed, like I don't want him seeing Clase. I don't want them seeing Bybee. I don't want them seeing Matthew Boyd.
Probably not. And again, that's off the fact that maybe the Tigers beat them. Maybe I'm selling the Tigers short here.
If it's the last game of the season and
everything's
clinched.
Sure.
Who are you throwing out there? Pitching.
Cantillo.
Because
it would be Sunday, right? And he pitches tonight. That's fine. Throw him Sunday. Do that. Throw
David
Walters. Go, all the guys out of the pen. Keep him away from Clase, Gaddis, Heron, Cade Smith. Actually, I'd try to keep him away from Pedro Avila if I could. But yeah, I mean, that'll be a scenario coming up on Sunday. We are home. Fan Appreciation Night is on Saturday night, by the way. Get your tickets. I got my playoff ticket. I'm so jacked, ready to go. But yeah, of course, the Astros make it 10 games back and win it. Pretty crazy.
Alrighty, well, pretty interesting story that kind of came out last night, developing this morning. But UNLV starting quarterback Matthew Sluka, he says he's no longer playing this season for the Rebels despite a 3-0 start. Quote, I've decided to utilize my redshirt year and will not be playing in any additional games this season. I committed to UNLV based on certain representations that were made to me which were not upheld after I enrolled. Despite discussions, it became fully clear that these commitments would not be fulfilled in the future. Matt, this is kind of our first instance of a quarterback not playing. They're inferring that this is due to NIL.
He's holding out. He is no different than CeeDee Lamb, Jamar Chase, Hassan Reddick. He's holding out. And the thing is, he can withdraw his red shirt at any time that he wants if UNLV shows up and cuts him a check. That's what college football has become. And I know there's a lot of old hats out there that hate it. I understand that this is the world that we're in. And I'll tell you, as much as I hate conference realignment, NIL will be the death of college football. Because you want to know what? There is not enough money to go around. We're talking about UNLV. I'm not talking Alabama. I'm not talking Ohio State. There eventually will not be enough money to circulate around to some of these guys. So what is he in essence saying? I sat down. The running Rebels told me they would probably pay me X. They have not, and I'm going to leave. Dude, it's UNLV. What money do you think they have? And then eventually what? All right, well, we got to take money away from this offensive lineman to give you the money. It's dirty. It's wrong. And I'm all for these players getting a piece of the pie. But there has got to start to be some sort of cap. Salary cap, if you will. There has got to start to be some of these limitations. You're going to keep getting this. And again, I'm not disparaging these guys. If they want to run and try to go somewhere else and go find another place to play that wants them, okay, fine. Eventually the money runs out, bro. Talking to that quarterback. Eventually the money's going to run out. And again, I don't know how good this guy is. Again, they're 3-0, okay, fine. But yeah, what a messy situation. And transfer portal, all this other kind of stuff, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy to see. The other thing about with how this is all going to get divided up and the money and the NIL stuff, you will eventually, have guys literally holding out. And then what? That sacrifices his money because here's my point I was going to ask. Does that actually sacrifice his money? Because a lot of these are supposed to be name, image, and likeness. They're just using his name, image, and likeness. That has nothing to do with him playing football or not. Because if it's predicated on him playing games, that's a contract, right? When he signs with a Chevrolet dealership out of Reno and he says, sure, use my name. Do they have it written in there that he has to be the starting quarterback for UNLV? Does that mean he has to be playing games? No, because then that's what? A contract. He still gets his name, image, and likeness. He still use it, but now there's a stink on it. Do you think Rebels fans are going to go and, hey, I'm going to buy a car from the dealership for the quarterback that just left my team? I doubt it highly. It's a messy game. And I'm not envious of anybody to be in those situations. It's bad.
Alrighty, well, the great Bill Belichick, he's become a regular on the Let's Go podcast from Sirius XM.
Okay.
And in the most recent episode, he's had a novel idea regarding the greatest Cleveland Brown of all time. Quote, I was having a conversation the other day talking about Jim Brown, and I think it'd be a great move for the NFL to retire his number, like baseball did with Jackie Robinson. Matt, would you be in favor?
The jersey, the league-wide retirements, like Wayne Gretzky, because he literally is the greatest hockey player ever. Bill Russell, I think 23 should eventually go league-wide, but...
Because of LeBron, right?
Well, yeah, sure, of course, because of him. He's the all-time leading scorer in the game, and a record that will never be touched. Retire that. But, football that already has so many guys on the roster... And then you have teams that have retired numbers that the guys go to the families and they ask, can I wear this number anyway? You know what I mean? Like, it gets dicey with football. The question is, if you had to retire one, who would it be?
Tom Brady.
See, here's the thing. Teams hate Tom Brady.
I'm sure.
If you're not a Patriots fan or a Buccaneers fan, nobody likes Tom Brady.
Okay, but you could say the same thing for Bill Russell. I'm sure teams didn't like playing against him.
It was such an era of the past that there's nostalgia there. You want to retire Tom Brady's jersey, you're going to have to do it in like 30 years. Like Jim Brown, who I know beat other teams and stuff like that, and I know there's a history there with Jim Brown off the field too, but nobody would sit there and really have an issue. I guess, again, some people might. I actually would say no. I think I'm fine with it being an individual team thing. Because once you start doing that, you open a floodgate and you open kind of, dicey water. Who gets it, who doesn't. I'm fine with the individual teams doing it. For the Browns, it's, Joe Thomas is going to get it. Miles will get it, I think. I thought maybe Chubb at a point. I don't know anymore. But I'm fine with the individual teams doing it. I don't think league-wide needs to happen.
If the NBA ever did go ahead and retire number 23, would they ever come out and say whether it was for LeBron or whether it was for Michael Jordan?
They would say it's for both of them. They would say it's both of them. Now, the question is, does LeBron as a young player regret picking 23 when he did? Probably.
Nah, because he's the best 23 ever.
I mean, yeah, you kind of maybe supplanted that guy. There's always going to be that debate. But because LeBron's not even wearing... Wait, is he back to 23 in L.A.? Or is he wearing 6?
No, because 6 is Russell.
That's right. So he's wearing 23. Hey, man, do what you want. But I think he probably would tell you he honestly regrets it. I don't know what other number he'd pick. I know 6 has been his other number and that kind of stuff, but he probably regrets picking 23.
All right, lastly, for the morning update. Well, Matt, I don't know the story, but you have a Pirates story, so please inform me.
I do. So the Pirates signed Rowdy Tellez. I remember him with the Blue Jays and his name.
I did see this.
You did see this
about them DFAing him.
So they got a week to go in the season, and he's had an all right year. He needs 4 more at-bats to clinch a $200,000 bonus in his contract, they DFA'd him. That is some of the lowest Bush League, cover the kids' ears bullshit. And I've seen it before. We've seen this in sports before. But the argument that I saw today, which is so right on, the $200,000 that they saved is not worth how you look to free agents, how you look to your fans, the stink around the league. I hope he files an injunction, and I hope he wins it. I really do. I hope he takes that and he gets his money from the Pirates. That's so low. And it's not, and you hear that sometimes. Football teams will do that. They'll give guys bonuses because they got hurt. You know, they're like, you would have clinched this, but we'll give it to you anyway. Like, that's so low from the Pirates. And you know why, that they've been bottom feeders forever. Stuff like that. I know they're cheap, and I know the Dolans can be cheap. I'll tell you, man, I don't ever see the Dolans doing something like that. That's so low. I hope he files an injunction. I hope baseball gets involved. That's terrible. Now, I saw some Pirates fans, because when I clicked on the article, or, clicked on the feed, there were people that were talking to me, man, he already stole $2 million from them, and he was an average guy this year anyway and already stole all this money. Get out of here. Come on now. That's terrible. That's absolutely terrible. I hope the Pirates get in trouble for that. I really do. Can I get you one more?
Yeah, go for it.
A swimmer and a canoeist have reported separate spooky encounters with the Loch Ness Monster. We're back.
Is this in Scotland?
Well, of course. That's where Loch Ness is. Here's a story from Bro Bible this morning.
Bro Bible.
You don't follow Bro Bible? I love Bro Bible. I used to get a lot of my quirky stories from them, and this came up. 39-year-old Duncan Roberts from Australia was participating in a charity challenge by swimming to the deepest part of Loch Ness when he encountered with what he believes might have been Old Nessie. The depth and darkness of the water plays tricks with your mind, he said. There's some weird energy in that part of the water, he said after the swim. During the swim, I experienced a bump halfway across. It was something big. The water is pitch black, and I had my eyes closed for that time at the depth and the darkness, but it terrified me because I didn't see anything. I just felt a big thud in my chest. So that's one. Then, apparently... Oh, wait,
you're telling me this dude got hit in the chest by the Loch Ness Monster?
He said he was at the depths of the water, and he felt something hit him.
And he...
Didn't know what it was. And he said, anyone who swims at that deep part of the lake would be lying if they said they hadn't thought about the monster. I was focused on getting across as quickly as possible, but the hit was a shock. Also this month, different, Jeff Potts and his son Christopher were canoeing near the same side of the lake and heard thumps on the other side of their canoe. Jeff telling What's the Jam? I've guided canoe trips on Great Glen. I've done about 40 or so in the last few years. A few weeks ago, I was sitting out with my son. Something bumped our canoe hard from below. When I mentioned it to Chris, he said he felt something hit his paddle and it nearly took it out of his hand. He goes, I didn't see anything, just a big bump across the bottom of the boat. He goes, I've completed 40 crossings since 2021. Including the first recorded nonstop solo crossing that I'm aware of. He said the thump was unlike anything he had ever experienced in his prior treks across the lake. He goes, I've hit logs before. It wasn't that. You immediately wonder what it was, but the water is so dark you can only see down a foot or so. My son Chris runs his own business trips and also said he never felt a thump quite like that.
I'm just confused because is the Loch Ness Monster not huge?
Yes. Supposed to be massive.
So if it's
allegedly
bumping a canoe and it's hitting somebody in the chest.
Maybe it's really smart. Maybe it's just coming up to see what it is.
Just tapping them?
Yeah. Maybe it's coming up and seeing what it is. I don't know.
Give me a break.
I don't know.
Give me a break.
I know they've done scans. Of all the things that I hope to be true, I hope the Loch Ness Monster is real. Bigfoot, whatever. Chupacabra, whatever. The Loch Ness Monster is my thing.
All right,
that's the thing. I just if I could hope and pick one thing to be true.
What about the Yeti?
Same thing. Yeti, it is what it is. You know? There was a guy who's on Joe Rogan's podcast, Forrest Galante is his name. And he said that there's these pockets that he swears that they're like the way the geography is set up. That it's either like on a mountain or these regions that are just like cut off from everything else. He claims that it's like walking back in time where they're so isolated that they've created their own little ecosystem. And he said, like, not necessarily like dinosaurs, but you're going to go in there and see stuff that is just landlocked to this thing that you can't see. Now, that's on land. I'm not talking about the lake. Obviously, it's stuck in the lake. But, like, if you believe in the Yeti and the Abominable Snowman and Bigfoot, you believe that they're kind of locked into these pockets, and we just haven't gotten in there yet. You know how much of the Canadian wilderness is undiscovered?
Wait, I'm confused. Why can't we go into these pockets?
He's just saying we haven't even discovered them yet. He said that there's a theory that there are these places that are just locked in, that nothing can get out, and it's really hard to get into. His idea is this. Imagine a mountain.
Okay.
But on the top of the mountain, it's not like a peak. It's a giant crater. And nothing gets out and nothing goes in. And these ecosystems were undisturbed, and there's just, it's like stepping back into time. There's extinct things up there that we don't know about. It's kind of like Kong. You ever watch some Kong movies?
That's exactly what I thought when they go into
you go into Skull Island, and they're like, basically, it's just surrounded by this giant storm. You can't get in, and then all of a sudden, here you are in Skull Island.
Interesting.
When's my next Godzilla movie, by the way? I still haven't seen New Empire. It's on Max. I need to watch that. Why? Is it not good?
No, I was going to make a joke, but I shouldn't.
What?
No, it's okay.
Why?
I don't want to get canceled.
Yeah, probably don't do that. You got to think about that. Probably a good call on that. Well, you can get canceled for the grid. Sometimes
yeah,
you
real quick though, I want to shout out Marshall and Glenn. I think I'm assuming this was in terms when we were talking about the casinos, how they do certain things.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Marshall said there's no clocks ever.
Oh, yeah.
And Glenn said no windows
No
ever.
windows, no clocks. They don't want you to know what time it is.
No
they
windows,
want you to know what time it is outside.
No boots and no socks.
That's another reason why a lot of casinos, too, have smoking areas. They don't want you going outside to take a smoke. Yeah. They don't want you going outside. They want you staying in there while it's going. And it's like, I don't know why. You ever see those videos on Reddit? They're like, oh, I'm sorry, not on Reddit, but they're on social media, and they're like aggregated comments from Reddit.
Yes.
Some of the ones I fall into are people that are like, you're a dealer. What's some of the saddest things you've ever seen? They're like people peeing themselves just sitting there. They're like families dragging their kids in with the check that they're supposed to make it through the week, and they think they can put it down and double their money. It's a sickness. It's sad. It really is. I mean, you need to help one another gambler. But like, again, I like going and sitting down and like at a bachelor party or, I do. That's the only time I've been to a casino recently is going to a bachelor party. Hey, man, throw my $200 down. Let's play a little bit. Let's see what we got going on here. But, man, there's some people in there. Woo! Woo! When's the last time you've been to a casino? Been a while?
Well,
how's Cincinnati's? Did you ever go to Cincinnati's while you were down there or no?
That's the only like casino I've been to.
Okay.
Like the Northfield one, I mean,
that's fine. I mean,
I've been to that one a decent amount, but like that only one
is
has slots.
It just all it has is slots, but the layout is a casino. The layout looks like a real casino. It's very legit on that standpoint.
The Cincinnati Hard Rock is nice. That's the one I went to.
We got to talk to him because Bet Jack, I know they're hooked up with the Bangalorean and Drew Garrison. We should do something over there.
Yeah, we should.
We should do something. I'd love to do it. But you know what I'd love to do? Ace the Grid! Wednesday's always a really pivotal day for us. Here we go.
Browns are in it.
And
Browns are in it.
Nice! Nice! Because I was going to say, too, we still got our lifeline, but I like where the Browns are at today, and I like that the Browns are on the team. We don't have to spoil a 10,000-yard pass or anything like that. We can do it on the Browns. This should be no excuses here, young Ryan. No excuses. Go.
All right. 10,000-yard. Let me just go Stafford, Kurt Warner. Just went to Stafford?
Yeah.
They don't like nicknames. It's Matthew. What would you do if I just started calling him Matthew one day?
I don't. My mom only rarely calls me Matthew. Sometimes like your parents call you that all the time. Like rarely, my mom will say it, but nobody calls me.
Well, I mean,
it's got to be Peyton Manning or John Elway.
Yeah, I mean, pick your poison.
Yeah,
what do
go
you
ahead.
do?
Either one.
I don't like John Elway.
That's fine. And then
Rich Gannon, Derek
Carson
Carr.
Palmer.
See Derek Carr.
Okay. Okay.
I wasn't tripping on that, right? Rich Gannon would have worked.
Yeah. Oh,
okay.
yeah. I'm sure he's got 10,000.
Let's save the Browns. I want to save the Browns.
All right.
Chargers, Rams. Well, Chargers, Broncos,
Melvin
Gordon.
Oh, that works too. Oh, no, not Von Miller. He played it for the Rams. I was thinking about the Rams. Yeah. Melvin Gordon. Well, Rams charge, is that not Tyrod Taylor?
Did he play for the Rams?
I'm pretty sure.
I don't remember that.
All right, hold off on that. All right, Raiders, Chargers. I know we're overthinking this. There's somebody that's just completely and so utterly obvious. But I can't think of who it is. Okay, Antonio Gates didn't go there. Phillip Rivers didn't. LaDainian Tomlinson did not. Ugh. Bro. What?
All right, let's just go with the Browns. Let's just go to the Browns, get it over with, and we'll be good.
All right, John Johnson.
I knew you were going to say that.
Who else would you say?
I don't know.
Here you go. Odell Beckham obviously would have worked there too, but that's okay.
Yes. Browns, Broncos.
TJ Ward.
Good one.
Would you like to get one, or you want me to get it?
You have one?
Oh, yeah.
All right, who?
Terrell Pryor.
Wow.
Terrell Pryor. Because they actually quarterback and then receiver here. Terrell Pryor.
Okay.
Terrelle.
That's how you spell Terrell?
That's how he spells Terrell.
Interesting.
All right. Charger again. Why? Like.
Just breathe,
Oh, that's
bro.
why.
Breathe,
Because I'm
bro.
such a.
Breathe,
dumbass.
bro.
I'm such a.
All right, what is it?
Man.
For Raiders, right?
Yeah. I knew there was one. I was like, man, there's something just slapping here. It'll be Khalil Mack. All right, I think it's Tyrod.
Okay, well, we have time.
We have plenty of time. But I don't know if I'm going to come up with a better one than Tyrod Taylor. All right, Phillip Rivers obviously didn't go there. Running backs, I'm not going to be able to get off Tyrod.
I mean, I don't remember him playing for the Rams.
Maybe I'm confusing him with the LA teams. I might be. Okay, remember him in Buffalo. We remember him in Baltimore. We remember him here. We know the Chargers. And I think the Rams. Another one.
Oh, nah.
I thought Geno Smith for a second, too. Ted Bridgewater, but I don't think he played in with the Chargers, right?
Oh, Sony Michel. Right?
I don't remember him with the Chargers.
I'm pretty sure he was.
Sure. Who's that other the other Georgia guy? Not Sony Michel, not Nick Chubb. Who's the other guy?
Running back?
Yeah.
Like legendary?
I don't say legendary, but like Todd Gurley. He didn't play with the Chargers, but Todd Gurley. No,
I'm almost positive. It's
okay. If you feel better than Tyrod, go ahead with Sony Michel. Well done.
Look if Tyrod played.
What?
Google if Tyrod played for the Rams.
Oh, yeah, Eric Weddles. Ravens, Bills, Browns, Chargers, Texans, Giants, Jets. You're right. It was not. You're
I
right.
would have been so mad at you.
Right. Well done. That's fine. Well done. That's all right. We'll have to remember that. Well done. All right. That's 3 down, 2 to go when it comes to the grid. We'll get back after it tomorrow.
Do people get massages at casino tables?
I think I've heard of that.
Marshall said they'll do whatever it takes to keep you playing. Always thought it was weird, hella weird when guys are getting massages at the table.
I don't know about it. I don't know.
Oh, Charles said got to use Peyton Hillis. What would Peyton Hillis have worked for?
Go back to it.
I exited out.
Well, I mean, just pull it up. I have to remember the teams. Oh, Denver Browns, because we got Peyton Hillis from Denver in the Brady Quinn deal. Yeah, that would have worked too. As well. I mean, the thing is with the server, first off, they hate getting tipped with chips because then they have to go cash them in at the cage. Give them cash. When that server comes around, you give them a nice $20 bill. You're making out all right, and they will make sure that they hit you back every single time. Because there's a giant game to be played. You know, I had a buddy, I don't say a buddy, but a guy I used to play baseball with, and he worked at a casino. And he started as a dealer and eventually became a pit boss and all the inner workings. Number one, you don't know how many cameras really are on you at any given point, okay? Wherever you're at, wherever you're sitting, they're watching the dealers. They got a whole room of people just staring at cameras. If you're, again, for you, pocketing chips, more about the dealers, counting cards and all that. Then they know if you're winning or not. You might think like, oh, I'm just sitting here betting $10 or betting this or betting that. They know whether you're up or not. And one of the jobs of the dealer is to know who's taking money from me right now. That's when they do dealer shifts. That's when people stand up and get away. When they get the new shoe out for the blackjack and all that kind of stuff. Then watch your drinks too. Not watch your drinks. What I'm saying is you start rolling. They actually start to bring you more drinks because they want you to sit there and start getting the vibes flowing. And then they start doing that. It's when you're actually doing bad that the drinks don't come around so much because eventually they go, well, you're just going to leave. Yeah. You know, and they made your money off you. Their job is to make you stay there until they get their money back because they said the house always wins. So that's why they want you to stay in Vegas or they want you to stay in the casino doing your game. There are people stand up because the other thing is the card. You know, when they people are like, oh, here's my player's card. And they'll sit down. Dude, they use that to track. They know where you're at. That's one of those high roller guys. They get the flights. You ever see that guy on social media, the guy that claims he made like millions of dollars playing Baccarat? He's all tatted up. Mickey Mace is his name. And he was saying like he had to fight the casinos because they wouldn't let him play. He was playing like $250,000 a hand on Baccarat. Because Baccarat, a game I do not know, he claims is like truly 50-50 on how you play it. Which I doubt that. Like, what casino game would you find? I want to go Clark Griswold. Remember in Vegas Vacation, they find that casino that played rock, paper, scissors, or guess a number, or which hand? Find me that casino out there. Let's go. But yeah, man, this Mickey dude, he gets out there and he exposes all this, dude. And he's like, they used to send me the jet. They used to send me this. They used to do all this stuff. And eventually they just take it away because they realize they're not going to get their money back.
Yeah.
And he goes, I would play at the different casinos. Because you also got to remember, different casinos could still be owned by the same company. So you're over there betting this, and you're coming over here and doing that. You know, all that. It's a game. It's a wild game. And the same thing as we get into sports betting here in this town of when you're getting your bonus bets and when all that kind of stuff. You just got to gamble responsibly. And I know there are people out there that claim that they make all this money. It's so funny. I saw it this morning, and I ain't ripping the Shooter McGavin account on Twitter because I think they're hilarious. But they started, obviously they're getting kickbacks from this guy. And it's a tweet from this dude that claims that he has made, let me find this, okay? This guy posts a screenshot of his month of September where he claims that he is up $70,000 in profit thanks to betting on football. Do you really think that'd be true and he'd be putting it out on social media for people? Just, banana in the tailpipe for a second. If you think it's too good to be true, it probably is. Now, every day he goes, oh, I lost $7,000 this Sunday. Then I lost just $90 this day. And then he wins $33,000 on a Sunday. It's like you're just hitting these random ones, these random days. According to this account of Verified, which again, whether or not that's true, he's up $74,600 in a month. But he's playing games. where he goes to bet, he goes to different books, gets different odds. He's hedging his bets. He's always winning. I ain't got time for that. I'll read you some crappy trends, and I'll see if the Guardians can cover an under.
There you go.
Which they did last night.
How about this?
Skin of their teeth.
Update. Carl Reed Jr., college football analyst, 24/7 Sports, CBS Sports. Update on Matthew Sluka. This was
the UNLV
quarterback.
Kid. Yeah.
He says all financial commitments for UNLV quarterback Matthew Sluka were completely met. But after wins against Kansas and Houston, Sluka's family hired an agent.
Oh, God.
And they collectively feel that his market value has increased. If that's true.
All right, man. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead, man. That's fine. That's fine. That's the game that you want to play. That's like, okay. What are you going to do? I don't know this guy's stats. I could not tell you that guy from a hole in the wall. Okay, I have no idea who this guy is. Is he that good? Matt Sluka?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to pull you up his statistics right now.
But even then, I mean, I don't care about his stats.
He obviously very much does, Ryan. So they are 3-0.
I'm assuming they're not that good.
In 3 games, he has thrown for 318 yards. Not per game, in 3 games. 3 games against Kansas. I don't even know who this UTU is. Utah Tech. And Houston. He threw for 86, 161, and then 71 on 18, 17, and 13 pass attempts. He has 6 touchdowns in 3 games to just get 1 interception. Get your ass out of here. You are insane. You loon. And your family. Dude, you want to know what that is? That is AAU parents to the college level, man. My kid should be starting and my kid should be doing this. Well, he threw for 300 yards in 3 games. He deserves more money. If I was UNLV, I'd be like, get out of here. Go. We'll do it without you. Gee, Ryan, we're really going to have to work hard to make up for the 100 and whatever yards that he puts up a game.
It really runs through him, huh?
Literally, 106, right? Is that not the math on that?
Some
We're
Deshaun
going to have to
Watson
make
stats.
up our 106 yards per game from him. We'll find somebody else to do it. We wish you the best of luck.
Hey, Deshaun's putting up that stat line. He's making 230
I guess
mil.
that's what it is. The guy gets 230. I'm worth that. 100 yards a game, and he wants more money.
Welcome to college football in 2024.
From UNLV. Come on now. What are we doing around this place? That's so sad. Oh, I'm sorry. He also has a rushing touchdown. I better.
Oh, he's a dual
include
threat.
that. Yeah, clearly. 1 in 3 games. Wow. He's almost got as many rushing yards as he does. It's all him. I don't like doing this because I don't know this young man. His family sounds like a bunch of jackasses. They really do. They really do. Locust Valley, New York. He's a senior, 6'3". Go ahead, man. Go ahead and move on. All right, let's skip our break. I got a little Donovan Mitchell news if you're interested.
Oh,
in
let's
this.
hear it.
All right, this is from Fear the Sword. Shout out to Jackson Flickinger. Is that really him? Who is this guy? I know Fear the Sword. I don't know who this person is. All right, well, shout out to Jackson. He had an article here from talking about Donovan Mitchell. Mitchell telling Vincent Goodwell of Yahoo Sports that he knew he was staying with the Cavs in the middle of last season. So he sat down.
Yeah, I don't buy that.
You don't?
No.
All right, I'm glad I bring this up then. So obviously Mitchell signed his contract extension, and he could have potentially forced his way out. Some people were worried about it and all that. He was a constant source of rumors as the season went on. He told Vincent Goodwell, Yahoo Sports, I noticed the year I got traded to Cleveland, everything was going to have their own, or everyone is going to have their own opinions. Everyone's going to have their own experts or sources. I figured out my own trade destinations online. You know what I'm saying? That's what Donovan said to Vince Goodwell. Everybody's going to have their stuff. At the end of the day, I knew I was coming back. Shoot, January or February, I knew off rip I was coming back. I told my teammates that, and they all knew that in January or February I was coming back. All right. So you don't buy that?
No, I mean, the middle of the season, what was happening? It was
that was their best stretch, right?
That
And
was
then you
your
hit
best
the
stretch when
All-Star
you're doing
break. You
good,
went
but-
12-17 after the All-Star break.
But you're
Right.
telling me if in an alternate universe Cavs missed the playoffs or Cavs got bounced in the first round, he really was fully 100% committed to that?
He
I don't know.
continued on to Yahoo Sports. He said, as far as the future goes, I'm in Cleveland. I'm excited and happy. I signed this contract for a reason. I believe in what we have. I believe in the organization to win, and the motivation to win is myself.
All right, well, I'm happy he's here.
Dude, trust me. I'm over the moon. I love Donovan Mitchell. I really do. And I'm happy that he's here. Didn't quite take like a hometown discount like Jose, and I wasn't asking him to do that. He got his market value, and at least you have a pillar. I'm not saying that it's going to work out. And I'm going to tell you, man, if I had to place a bet today, if you think he's actually going to see the end of the contract in Cleveland, I hope so. But we'll see. You start there. It's like a quarterback in football. If you start with that guy, then we can figure out some other things. But he said he knew in February, January he was coming back.
All right.
All right, man. Good.
Who am I to say?
And I think that helps everything with the Cavs. If they really had that true feeling the rest of the way, then that helped them operate. I'm going to tell you this, and we'll get to basketball soon, man. Training camp's around the corner, is it not?
A couple weeks, I think.
The fact that they did not trade Garland, I'm not going to say is going to come back to bite them in the ass, because I get that they weren't getting the trade returns that they were looking for. But I just tell you, man, I'm really shocked that they didn't trade him. And they didn't do it. Here, okay, more on the Matt Sluka. You ready for this? This is from Adam Rittenberg. Bob Sluka, the father of UNLV quarterback Matt Sluka, told ESPN that his son's agents agreed to an NIL deal with the school back in February. Never received payments despite requests and never asked for adjustments to the original deal. We have no idea what the hell happened. So again,
that's saying he's had an agent.
That his son's agents agree. I want to read this again. Bob Sluka, father of Matthew Sluka, told ESPN that his son's agents agreed to an NIL deal with the school back in February. Never received payments despite requests, and they never asked for adjustments on the original deal.
So it's very different.
So then that
from
takes away what I was
reported.
yelling at them about.
Yes.
That's different. If he's not getting the money that he was supposed to get, shame on UNLV. And if he never asked for, but don't you say that after a report that comes? We don't know. We don't know what happened. Here's what it is. If they wanted more money, those people are jackasses. If UNLV didn't give him his money, then they're jackasses.
Somebody's a jackass.
There's jackassery going on. I don't know on what side or where, but there's jackassery afoot. Okay?
Fair enough.
Your story, what do they always say? There's three sides to a story. Your side, their side, and the truth. But again, they got to have receipts. They got to have checks. They got to know something. Let's do it. You want to know something about time up? Let's get to it quick. We're at 47 already. Let's go. All right, very quickly, let's run through it. A little bit of time up here on the 25th of September, man. Slipping away from us. Let's go. This is a funny one. This day, 2020, First Energy Stadium and the Cleveland Browns were cited for COVID violations by serving alcohol past 10 p.m. You remember all that craziness about COVID and rules and all that kind of stuff, and they had to get, special exemptions to do this and do that. Crazy times. This day, 2016, Browns fought in Miami, 30-24 in overtime. Brian Body Calhoun had a pick six for the Browns, and Terrell Pryor had a touchdown run. But they lost to Ryan Tannehill, who threw 3 touchdowns. Jay Ajayi had a touchdown, and old friend Jarvis Landry had 140 yards and a 40-yard touchdown for Miami that day, 2016. This day, 1997, this is one of the biggest trades, I think, in Cavs history. But on the negative side, we send Terrell Brandon, Tyrone Hill, and a first-round pick to the Seattle Supersonics. For who, Ryan? Any idea?
Say that one more time.
So we sent Terrell Brandon, Tyrone Hill, and a 1 to the Seattle Supersonics for who?
What year was this?
1997. Before your time. He had a weight problem when he got to Cleveland.
No idea.
Sean Kemp.
Never.
You ever remember any of your stories about that?
No.
He was an all-star. He was a really good player. Came to Cleveland, ate too much. Had a weight problem when he came to Cleveland. Never the same. This day, 1976, U2 formed. Big fan of U2? Anything? Nothing?
Got some good songs.
Yeah, all right. This day, 1965, 60-year-old Satchel Paige threw 3 scoreless innings for the Kansas City A's. Could you imagine somebody at 60 years old pitching still? This day, 1954, the Indians won a then AL record 111 games. This day, 1926, the NHL granted franchise to Detroit and Chicago, the Blackhawks and the Red Wings. This day, 1789, Congress proposed the Bill of Rights. If you told me to pass like a 5th grade social studies thing about Bill of Rights, Constitution, and the Declaration of Independence.
Think you do good?
I know the Declaration of Independence just said that
okay.
we're leaving.
I think I do okay.
Pull
up a little quiz.
All right. Bill of Rights
I think I would do pretty well.
versus the Constitution. Oh, that's right. The Bill of Rights is the first 10 amendments to the United States Constitution. See how bad I do. So those are like protects religion, free speech, and assemblies. Second Amendment protects the right to keep and bear arms. Third, restricts housing soldiers in private homes. 4, protects against unreasonable search and seizures. 5th, no one can be held for a capital crime unless indicted by a grand jury. 6, the accused has a right to a speedy and public trial. Preserves the right to trial by jury. So that's right. The Bill of Rights is the first 10 amendments of the Constitution.
Right.
How many amendments are there?
20. No. There's 30 something, right?
No.
40 something?
No.
20 something?
20.
Oh, I thought, is there 26?
27.
27? For some reason I thought it was, and then we got up to 30. But I am wrong. Give me an amendment. Let me see if I can tell you what it is.
We don't have time. We're running. Okay, wait. Okay. We do not have time.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay. So again, that's the first 10 were like initial ones. Okay. Obviously, 13 was very big.
Yes.
Abolishing slavery.
Right.
16 was income tax. Congress has the power to lay and collect taxes on your income. That's the 15th Amendment. So again, 18 was the prohibition of liquor, and then 21 was the repeal of prohibition.
Mm-hmm.
The 27th Amendment, do you have any idea what that might have to do with?
That was the newest one, right?
Correct.
Something about a certain, like, delegates?
It has something to do with delegates.
A certain number for each?
No, not that one.
Oh, okay. Then no.
So 26 was the right to vote at age of 18. 27 was congressional compensation. No law can vary the compensation for services of senators and representatives until an election of representatives shall have intervened. Basically, they can't all get in there and say, hey, we're all going to make $5 million a year or whatever it is.
Yeah,
but now, like, I ain't getting into it. Oh, look at that tax record. Look what they did here. They sold this stock and they get. We're all screwed. Just the sooner that you adopt the idea that us as the general people are just out to be screwed with, life will be a little easier, I guess. All right, so there we go. All right, guards. We're not screwed on our guards bets. Let's go. Joey Cantillo on the hill tonight. So now here's the weird thing. Oh my God, I just skipped birthdays and movies.
Yeah,
we have a ton.
Yeah, I was like, okay, I guess we're done.
Pippin, and I didn't even get the last one. 1780, Benedict Arnold defected to the British.
What a traitor.
Yeah, what a piece of crap. Scottie Pippen, not a piece of crap. Chauncey Billups, Cade Cunningham, Mark Hamill, Will Smith, T.I., Donald Glover, Bella Ramsey, Christopher Reeve, and Michael Douglas all celebrating birthdays today. It's weird. Mike just sent me a gift of Michael Douglas, and it's birthday today. I mean, do you want me to? I have 6.
Just rip them.
2017, a show I didn't know was a spinoff, but is.
Young Sheldon.
2009 movie.
Dark
Found
Knight.
camera footage inside of a house.
Poltergeist.
No.
No. Paranormal Activity.
Correct.
That's what I meant.
1999 television show. A lot of nerds on this show. 1999. Jason Segel.
Freaks and Geeks.
Freaks and Geeks is correct. 1987. A grandfather sits down and tells a story to his son who's homesick from school. Gary Eves is in that one.
Who?
A grandfather sits down to tell a story to his grandson, played by Fred Savage. And he tells him a story that is then acted out. Wesley. Andre the Giant's in this movie.
No idea.
Princess Bride. Next up, television show. This day, 1982. Ricky. Oh my God, I can't remember his name. Ricky Schroeder.
No idea.
Silver Spoons. Final one, 1975. Let's do the time warp, Ryan.
Let's do
the time warp.
This is a movie?
Yeah, it started out as not a movie. And now I think it's still a drag show. Tim Curry.
What? Drag show?
Yeah, it's a drag show.
Oh, Rocky Horror
Picture Show is correct. All right, that's as fast as we can go. Guardians tonight, Jacob Junis, who actually Jose Ramirez has batted 30 times against in his career. I like Jose for the hit. Over under is 8.5. Junis has only given up 3 earned runs in his last 3 starts. If Cantillo can be on, I kind of like the under for tonight. Cantillo is 2-0 in his last 3 starts. He's only given up 2 earned runs in his last 3 starts. Slam the under, slam a Jose hit today. Cantillo, 6 and 10 strikeouts in his last 3. Give me 4 Cantillo strikeouts, Jose hit, under, throw a Guardians money line if you will, but I kind of stay away from that for tonight. Bracket, best cover song quickly.
Yeah, coming out of Group 1, Jimi Hendrix, All Along the Watchtower.
Fair.
That cleared, and Group 2 is a little bit closer, but Run DMC edges out.
I
Turn
like
the
that.
page.
I like that. Groups 3 and 4, Ryan will just send them out tonight.
Yes, sir.
Or send them today. Follow at Matt Fontana Show. It's going to do it for us. Wednesday, Drennan is up tonight. Go follow on Big Play and the app and across social media. Rapid fire to get it done and wrapped up, and here we are. So appreciate everybody joining us. We'll talk to you tomorrow. For Ryan Tyler, I'm Matt Fontana. As always, take it easy.